Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem HaKadosh, and all blessings and honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. And I'm gonna title this "Being Content." My bad, just burped a little bit. Being content, and the reason why I'm titling that is because us, Jake, on a daily basis, sometimes our insanity goes all the way up. It's hard to control that insanity. I'm gonna go into that word insanity. And the reason why you have insanity, your insanity is through the roof because you're bored. You always want to do something. You're always craving something. Unhealthfulness or unsoundness of the mind. And you tend to go into those bad habits when your insanity is all the way up. And sometimes it's hard to control that because you're not doing anything, Jake. You're not going outside. You're not going to the gym. You're not having a righteous balance. Here's another definition. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You might be having certain bad habits, certain bad addictions that you tend to do on a daily basis, like drinking, maybe playing games too much, eating too much, maybe it could be any other bad habit they be indulging. I'm gonna go into Philippians 4:11. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. And whatever state that you're in, you gotta learn how to be content. Either if you're poor, or if you have riches, you want to be content. You don't want to have those riches take over you. You might indulge in those bad habits with those riches. Maybe be drinking too much, going to the bar too much, or if you're poor, you don't want to go ahead and every time when you have like $20 bill, you go ahead and spend alcohol on it. You want to know how to be a base and know how to abound. And on verse 12, I know how to be a base and I know how to be abound everywhere and in all things. I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. You want to learn how to do both of those things, just in case of those things come and happen. First Timothy 6:6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. And with that godliness is what those righteous habits, those good habits. You want to go to the gym. You want to be riding your bike. Probably walking to the gym or riding your bike to the gym. Hey, maybe you need to switch it up a bit. Maybe you've been riding your bike to the gym all this time. Maybe go walking this time. Probably take a different route. Avoid the big roads. Go to the forest preserve. You know, you want to switch it up. You don't want to keep doing the same thing to the point where you might feel bored. You want to switch things up. Maybe walk to the forest preserve, or maybe walk to the gym. Take a different route to a suburban area where there's more woods. You know, less cars around, less of a busy road. So you're able to think within your own thoughts and have a sound mind. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. And you wanna be content with the little that you have, with like food and raiment and shelter, instead of being all up in your sanity. And verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation, and a snare into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. And those riches, they can drown you. They can drown you, Jake, because what you end up doing is you might be spending too much on alcohol. You may be going every week to the bar, or or to the club. You might be doing other things behind closed doors with those riches, which is just not good for you. And I'm going to go into Hebrews 13 and 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For ye have said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. And the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua, He's not going to forsake us or leave us. We just got to be content with the stuff that we have already. And it's best to have minimal stuff as possible. Just have your keys, wallet. Don't carry too much things. I'll be going to the gym. I'll be noticing that certain people in that gym, they be carrying big bags, big duffel bags. Big duffel bags. They be looking like they be going to the boxing gym, which they don't go to the boxing gym, but they be having that for show. They want to show off, and they be like the most prideful, most grumpiest individuals, because they be carrying too much stuff. They don't know how to be content with a little bit of stuff. With a lot of stuff, it could drive you crazy. And I personally, I don't carry headphones on me. I don't be wearing them in the gym, because what I notice, if you be wearing headphones in the gym, you tend to take longer in your workouts. You can't focus. You can't focus on your muscle memory. So now you're not counting your reps. You're not counting your sets. You're not taking your rest. You're constantly on your phone scrolling. That's bad right there, Jake. You're not focusing. You're not being content. When you go to the gym, focus on working your muscles out in the gym. So then you're able to focus on your muscle memory, get your gym workout done and out the way with, so you won't spend too much time in the gym. Especially out on walks. Don't wear your headphones when you're out walking, because that'll make you even more grumpy, or that radiation that be hitting your headphones through your ears. Especially on a hot day outside, while you're wearing your headphones, it's a bad habit too, because now you're getting all irritated. It's hot outside. It's hot outside now that the radiation is hitting you. Now you feel all messed up, and you feel cooked in the brain. And I'm not saying being, 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 I'm not saying be Let your conversation be without covetousness, meaning what? You know, you don't want to be jealous over other brothers' things, because we all have different perks. We all have different stats, and you know, we all have good areas and bad areas. Some brothers are good in areas better than others, and maybe you have certain areas better than other brothers, but doesn't mean you should be jealous over that. You know, we all have bad habits. We all have certain things that we like. Uh, um, you know, different perks. You know, different stats. And I'm gonna go into the book of Proverbs 30 and 8. Saying, remove far from me vanity and lies, give me neither poverty nor riches, feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? How thy power? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my power in vain. And, you know, it's best not to be rich on this side, because, you know, if you be having great riches, and if you're not giving to the brotherhood, now it's hard to forsake those riches. You're going to be holding on to those riches. It's going to be hard to stop those bad habits that you keep indulging in. You know, you want to be content with the little that you have. And, you know, Sir Jake, you know, you probably need to switch things up a bit. You need to probably start walking more. Maybe walk to a new area around your neighborhood. Be around a suburban area. Maybe ride your bike more. Maybe try out a new different food. Go to a new restaurant. Maybe a new Italian restaurant in the suburbs. Be around the brotherhood more. You know, you want to have these righteous balances instead of these bad habits. And that's all to this lesson. And in closing, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh, Shalom.